displayed a passion of bringing about transformative changes wherever he served, building and strengthening public institutions and deliver safety, security, and services to the common citizen. Sir has played a crucial role in expelling notorious figures like Abu Salim in 2005. In 2016, Sir was handpicked as a DGP of Madhya Pradesh by the government. As the police head, he took decisive action against the corrupt officials. Under his leadership, the Madhya Pradesh police witnessed technological advancement, implementation of the Dial 100 system, and establishing the state first officer Twitter account for DGP. Beyond his domestic contributions, Sir's global perspective and expertise were evident in his training for crisis management and hostage negotiation in the USA. Briefly affiliated with the Intelligence Bureau for handling sensitive cases depicting versatility in his approach to law enforcement. Sir has also served as the chairman of Madhya Pradesh Police Housing Corporation. Sir's exceptional leadership was further recognized when he was appointed as the director of the Central Bureau of Investigation in February 2017. During his time as director, he implemented systematic reforms, emphasizing perspective supervision in his investigation and prosecution of the cases. After completing his tenure, he retired in 2021. Sir is a proud recipient of Police Medal for Meritorious Service and President Police Medal for Distinguished Service. Sir's legacy extends beyond the position he held. It encompasses a relentless pursuit of justice, technological innovations, and commitment to public. Now I request Sir to please.
Thank you so much for all those kind and generous words. First of all, let me thank Director CAPT for inviting me here to interact with you people. CAPT has really grown in the last several years. I've been watching it become a very premier organization. And a warm welcome to all of you. Drug law enforcement is probably the single most futuristic challenge which we are going to, or which we are already facing today in the world. You are aware that the substance abuse is not a thing which we can gloss over. We do not have actual data and statistics of drug users in the country, but probably because we are the largest population in this country, in the world, we will be having the largest number of substance abusers. And some of you would be young parents, some would be slightly older parents. The biggest challenge is to keep our students and youth away from drug use. And one of the ways to do it is to ensure that drug does not reach to them, and it's not easy to get these drugs. That is what in the drug law enforcement is called the focus on supply reduction. That is what you have been doing very sincerely and over a period of years. And I see in this two-day agenda that the focus is primarily on what I would say the flow of intelligence and how to prevent the flow of drugs and detect if there are any illicit transmissions. But we have to go slightly beyond that. We have to go slightly beyond that. While that is the most important thing, and of course the crypto and the dark web is the challenge. But anything which we do for the good of the humanity, technological development, it always has a darker side. And this is the darker side which we see. Only last year we had this very strange incident from Western MP, the Indore region, where Amazon was used to globally move shipments of drugs and drugs made locally, a thing like called a ketamine or something like that, which is a very addictive substance of psychotropic substances. Now, from times immemorial, this has been a challenge. People, when they reach a particular level of what's known as the level of happiness or the level of sadness, they need something to push them beyond it. And that has always come in the form of natural substances like opioids, etc. Opioids, we are aware that they've been with us since ever. For years, the global community tried to stop the flow of opioids because of their extreme addiction properties. While it is probably still the best available painkiller used as medicine, but its addictive capacities are destructive. In 1961, you must be aware, I'll give you a small background. 1961, there was a single convention of the UN, which resulted in the flow of banning of opium production in all countries but for which is the only country where opium is legally grown? India. We are the only legally opium growing country, and we have for that almost 80% of that comes from Western MP and Eastern Rajasthan, and about 20% of comes from Eastern UP, that is the Gazipur area. The two government factories, all the alkaloid factories, which are supposed to collect all the opium produced under license. Is somebody from the CBN here? CBN? Yeah, CBN is here. So CBN are the people who sort of license them and who ensure that all the drugs are supposed to come in. 91, I had this chance of being posted as SP of Mandsaur. Mandsaur alone produces about 65% of the total legal opium. At that moment of time, the farmers were, it was great prestige to get a opium production license. And there was no greater tragedy than them losing that license. There are two member parliaments, Mandsaur and Kota. And these two member of parliaments continued to focus on their, I would say, the opium producers and dominate the policy making in the Government of India Ministry of Finance. Even at that time, we were aware that as much of legal opium which is being produced, almost similar quantity of that is being produced but not sold to the factory. It would be in various ways it would go on. And one challenge is कि भाई कुछ करो पकड़ना है तो some of our specialist drug law enforcers. Now this is a challenge for all agencies even right now. There was a guy who said, अभियान चलाओ पकड़ो, पकड़ आए तो कितना पकड़ना है? 50 किलो 3 दिन में पकड़ दिया. Later, that gentleman got promoted as a DISP. He was finally dismissed and he also went to jail. What I'm saying is that's a challenge. So from the opioid thing which got banned, but it was time consuming. You had it in Afghanistan, you had it in Burma, and you now have it almost various places in India continue to grow this opioids, and we using the satellites to try and control them and destroy the product. And then you have got the ganja family also, the charas hashish thing. Everything of that is there, but that has probably become much less of a challenge. From 61 single convention, we went to 70 where we had the psychotropic substances convention. Then in 1988, the UN got the narcotics and psychotropic substances convention, which resulted in the NDPS, which is now our basic law dealing with all drug abuse. But was that enough? No. After that, we moved on to pharma companies producing chemical substances, which are probably far more addictive and far easier to obtain. And now, as a concerned citizen, I am no longer a police person, a concerned citizen, I am most worried about the abuse of prescription drugs. Prescription drugs is something which probably in the one of the later conferences, you can probably have a session on that, because that is a huge challenge. Prescription drugs are available at every single chemist shop. I have seen a thing like in Bhopal, there's a thing called tramadol. Tramadol is a younger brother of oxytocin. This tramadol is available at 40% reduction discount on retail price. And you just have to go to the chemist and say, भैया का tramadol दे देना, तो वो एक 20 का पैकेट, पूरा पैकेट उठा के दे देता है. And I have seen young boys, college going boys, using up to 30 tramadol tablets a day. Nobody, the doctors do not know how to handle that. You cannot take the boy out of the thing without permanently damaging some part of his brain. So these are the difficult things which are now coming up. So while it's a wonderful thing that we focus on the dark web and everything, because that has got more national security implications also, because every deal which goes through on internationally, be through the dark web or even without dark web. Some years back, the drugs were supplied to places like Sri Lanka and Bangladesh on their way out from India, so that then they could go further to the Western world. And in return, we would get illicit weapons, we would get counterfeit currency, and you would get people smuggled in, creating a huge challenge for national security. From there, now the role is being reversed. We are the country which is sort of smuggling in to the country. Now nobody is interested in the sort of half-baked opium converted into brown sugar, which has 50% coffee powder. That we have, if I may so, our drug dealers, indigenous drug dealers, have lost a lot of value in the market because of the counterfeiting the thing. They've started mixing coffee powder and everything. So people are not interested in taking that product. That product also finds its way here in the domestic market. If you are aware, there is something known as a Doda Chura. How many of you know Doda Chura? Doda Chura. I mean, in a situation like this, when talking of drug law enforcement, everybody of you must know what Doda Chura is. The opioid sap, when it is taken out, whatever is left behind, even that has a very potent intoxication value. And when they said कि Punjab उड़ता नहीं था, it used to thrive on that Doda Chura, low content of drugs, and in trucks it used to be legally sold in Punjab, legally sold. Then the government of India in its wisdom said कि नहीं, इसको तो बैन कर दो, इसको जला देंगे. वो जलता नहीं है, वो अब भी बिक रहा है, पर पेपर पे जल गया है. वो बनना बंद हो गया. Then what Punjab went into? It went into even higher forms of drugs. Not only Punjab, almost every part of the country is now facing this challenge. They are now curated, let us say, doses, which now you're all aware of the infamous events in Bombay, which have happened in the last 2 years, about the NCB and the substance efforts which they have made. But for one which they sort of managed to seize, there are 99 others which they cannot seize. We do not have data. We do not have data of users. We do not have data of the illegal production. We do not have what is happening. That is something which the policymakers need to focus on, and probably a conference like this can derive some suggestions which can be forwarded to the policymakers. So having said these things, probably knowing the magnitude of the problem, we go ahead. Where do we go? What about the investigation of the case? NDPS cases are the most difficult cases to go in for criminal investigation, because these are very harsh laws, and they're harsh laws that there is no bail, there is no nothing, and the mere possession leads you to punishment. Therefore, the judiciary has always been very, very cautious, and a single procedural error is enough to throw out the cases. Now, how do you manage to have a checklist that investigators do not create such mistakes. They do not create such, and it's not enough. There used to be probably at one point of time, maybe 200 odd Sri Lankan nationals in jails in Western MP because they were the connections selling drugs to Sri Lanka. And from jail, they would operate with impunity because you're unable to convict them for years together. That is again a challenge which we must focus on. Somewhere in this conference, investigation of NDPS cases needs to be brought into picture. आपने पकड़ लिया और केस छूट गया तो कोई फायदा नहीं. So how do you investigate properly? Where are the prosecutors who can prosecute the case in a court of law? NDPS as special courts, do you have prosecutors with enough experience who can take this matter forward? So prosecutors is one more thing. There are two more things which I would say before wrapping this up. When I refer to the drug law enforcer, अगर आप senior officer के कहने पे at will if they can seize the drugs, which means that they have a lot of information and there is a lot of corruption going on. That corruption is a huge challenge. And any number of drug law enforcers, particularly specialist drug law enforcers, are behind bars now. So how do you, the supervisory staff of police, NCB, CBN, all agencies have a control over their subordinate officers. You must have strong internal vigilance mechanisms. There has to be a personal involvement of senior officers in this working. Finally, I think it's time, Director CAPT Saab, that we institute some research on users and quantity which is being coming in or not. We do not really know what it is. If we do not know the information, we are working on just presumptions. So some research involving academicians, involving practitioners is required. While you have a session from a representative from the Ministry of Social Justice, probably demand reduction remains one of the most important parts in drug law enforcement. Demand reduction would mean how you are able to wean off. And while social agencies, while some parts of the government do it, health and education, whatnot, but unless the law enforcers, particularly from the police side, are able to sort of get in synergy and reach out to the users. If you reach out to the users, you will be able to find who is supplying them. At every nook and corner of every city in the country, you have things available. If you want to wrap them up, you just have to reach out to the user and you will be able to rehabilitate them, take them to drug abuse centers, work with them, and roll up from the bottom while you're trying to work at the top to see who is supplying it, or you're trying to interrupt the Coast Guard, and the NCB have done a great job in that, interrupt the in-transit consignments. But even the effort to reach out to the user and roll up from the bottom is very important. This, in my opinion, probably is one of the areas of law enforcement which would be doing the great service to the entire society if you are able to sharpen your ability to give an all-round and comprehensive result. My best wishes to all of you for deliberations in this conference, and I do hope that you will all achieve great laurels in the area which you work. आप सबको बहुत सारा आशीर्वाद, blessings. Stay safe, work hard. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing the perspective and deep insight about this subject. Now, sir, on this momentous occasion, I would like to request our Chief Guest, Shukla sir, again to unveil the much anticipated book titled Compendium on Criminal Law, authored by Sri Anil Kishore Yadav, IPS, Director, CAPT. Sir, this book is exceptionally comprehensive work on the evolving domain of criminal law. It stands out for its meticulous coverage of every aspect of the subject, combining remarkable clarity with the in-depth analysis. With its insightful perspective and detailed exploration, this book is poised to be an invaluable resource for legal personnels, scholars, and anyone keen to understanding the nuances of the modern criminal law. Now I request, sir, to kindly do the honor and release the book.
I have had the unique privilege of reviewing this book which is being released. And I must say the CFPT and Director of CFPT in particular have done a remarkable job in bringing out this compendium of great news. The millions of investigators and police officers who would be using the new laws. Great. Well done, Anil.
We sincerely thank our esteemed chief guest for graciously unveiling the book and making this occasion a truly memorable. Now I request Director Sir to present memento to our esteemed chief guest and as a token of appreciation and remembrance of his invaluable presence and contribution in this conference. Sir. Now I request Sri Mulchan, AD Trading, to present vote of thanks.
Very good morning to all. Myself, Mulchan, Assistant Director Outdoor, and it is my proud privilege to propose vote of thanks in the inaugural session of 4th National Conference on Drug Law Enforcement. First and foremost, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude and sincere thanks to Shri Rishi Kumar Shukla, IPS, former Director, Central Bureau of Investigation, and former Director General of Police, Madhya Pradesh, for sparing his valuable time and blessing all of us with his esteemed presence. We are truly honored to have you with us today, sir. I also express my sincere thanks to Shri Anil Kishore Yadav, IPS Director, Central Academy for Police Training, for his continuous support and guidance. It is because of his support and guidance, Academy is reaching new heights in the field of training and administration. I take this opportunity to thank all the head of departments of various organizations for nominating you all to attend this 2 days national conference. A word of thanks to you all participants for traveling all the way from your respective states to this academy to attend this 2 days national conference on drug law enforcement. Last but not least, my sincere thanks to Shri Bijkishore Sharma, Assistant Director, Conference Secretary of this conference, for his tireless, dedicated efforts in planning of this conference. Thank you all. Jai Hind.
Now I request all of you to please raise in the honor of national anthem.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जगधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मागे आहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे Jaya 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 Hind.
Thank you. Now I request all of you to please come for a group photograph. We have made the sitting arrangement in the entrance of this academic block and thereafter followed by the high tea. से पूछना है यहाँ का मामला मेरे से पूछ सभी लोग प्लीज आप बाहर जल्दी आए एक बार फोटोग्राफ के लिए। आप लेके आओ सभी को। हाँ ये भी सभी।